Welcome to Module 4 of the Volunteer Training for Kindness Administrative and Assignment Volunteers. I am Robin Lichter, a fellow volunteer. Being that you are watching this, you have already gone through the application process and identified the volunteer you have selected to be. The essence of the Kindness System is a dedicated and trained volunteer corps. We thank you for being one of them. As you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, there are the 4 categories of volunteers. Module 3 was dedicated to the Angels and Ambassador training, and this module is going to be just the administrative and assignment aspect of the training. It's important to have a graphical overview of our program. And this is an overview that does change as we're tweaking the system. But this current overview does show you some very necessary details. You will see that there are very few dark purple boxes. What is indicated by the dark purple is staff members who are with Kindness Initiative, which I may refer to intermittently as KI. The light purple boxes, however, are all volunteer positions. The yellow boxes indicate our partners. So the projection is to see the orange boxes or yellow boxes growing as more and more service provider organizations or partners are added to our administrative chart. But what is really so relevant about this chart is that the overriding number of boxes that are here are the light purple, which indicates volunteers, which tells you how important the volunteer aspect of the program is. And without the volunteer involvement, this program would not be able to survive. We'll start with the administrator behind the scene volunteer category first. The administrators, so to speak, are not really directly involved with member management at any given time. They are who are running the whole behind the scenes aspect, doing designated areas of administrative needs that generally will align with your professional expertise. This is an ongoing long-term volunteer commitment. Your continuous input is going to be very necessary to sustain and to grow Kindness Initiative. You will work very closely with KI leadership and professional advisors and all the team members. The system of communication at this stage that we have chosen to use is something called Slack. And you will have been allocated a Slack channel or a Slack involvement, and you will do all communication with KI team members and leadership through using relevant Slack channels. There is a separate module in this 7-module training that is exclusively for Slack, which will give you a much clearer overview of how to use Slack. There are many, many administrative positions that we are trying to fill to have a very smooth and slick running process here. These are just to name some of them. We certainly need somebody to maintain our very lovely website, and that's going to be an ongoing process. We need a lot of people to be involved with the Angel and the Ambassador volunteer. So we need directors of Angels and Ambassadors. We need an Angel coordinator. We'll need an Ambassador coordinator. We need assignment volunteer chair. We need somebody who helps with recruitment of volunteers and helps them onboard and train. We also need outreach for the members. Given that what we are here for is to try and help our members become self-sufficient, we need to identify the members. So this would be a big task to reach out and recruit members. Behind the scenes, what's so critical is our data management, our analysis, and our reporting. Somebody who communicates with our synagogues, our schools, and our local Jewish organizations. Somebody who helps us with our membership program product program, which is, for example, Adopt a Kindness Family, which has taken off really extremely well, and we would like to keep that growing as a very core part of Kindness Initiative. Somebody who does our public and community relations, marketing, social media, donor relationships, Jewish life enhancements. Given we are an exclusively Jewish program, we want to enhance the Jewish aspect of it and include weekly Shabbat meals for all our members and make each Jewish holiday very special and meaningful. Somebody who looks at compliance oversight. And then our case managers who are so involved with the membership onboarding will need people to help try and find more resources for the areas which are most needed. And so far, what we've identified the greatest need is for housing, employment, transportation, health and wellness, and financial aid. So there is the realm of all the functions that we need administrators for. The process by which this is going to happen, well, has already begun, seeing as you are here and part of this orientation and training. Depending on your exact administrative role, you will plan and implement the relevant activities, and you will be in regular communication with the staff and volunteer members who are associated with your role, again, using Slack as a preferred method of communication. You will lead team feedback sessions. You will update constantly on the project in which you're involved and store the data. We are using Dropbox too for people who are going to need to have access to it. You will need to be involved with a regular weekly meeting or meetings with the supervisors and the relevant team members. And quarterly, we will continue with trainings and supervisions. The one thing that's going to be pertinent to both the administrator and the assignment volunteer, as is for the angel and ambassadors, we really do want to keep track of hours worked to maintain a level of understanding of how many hours are going into the project. So if you would please be diligent enough to keep your hours worked, and monthly you would submit them to the administrative director, who is Simone, so we can keep a tally of this. Your qualifications and time commitment. Well, your qualifications are that you do have the expertise in the area that you have determined to be an administrator, as we discussed the many examples, and you would have education and experience commensurate to the role that you're doing. This is a little bit more of a labor-intensive role in that we expect a minimum will be spent of 3 to 5 hours per week. But that again will vary depending on the role. Moving on to the assignment volunteer. This is the only one of the 4 volunteer positions that in a sense has a finite commitment, and it's also helping to expand our operational capacity in leading a very specific project or initiative. The process begins the same, and you're now here at the orientation and training. You too will communicate with whoever you need to communicate with, which will vary using the Slack medium. You will monitor your project budget because many projects here will have a budget requirement, and you will do this with the support of the advisory or financial board, and you will provide a report at the close of each project. You too will be involved in presenting the updates of what's going on with your assignment through weekly meetings with the supervisor and relevant team members. We hope to continue quarterly supervision or training, and again, as mentioned, keeping track of hours. Your qualifications will also require an expertise in your area that you've taken on, and you'll need the ability to manage your project within the scope and a budget. We see a minimum of 2 to 4 hours per week in planning and implementing your project and communicating with the people for whom you need to be in contact. I'm going to run through many slides very quickly because there are so many circumstances where we need this niche role to be fulfilled, that of the assignment position. In education and coordination, we need assignment volunteers who will make presentations about KI, Kindness Initiative, to our Jewish professionals and community leaders. And we need you to develop a program to improve coordination amongst all our service providers, which were the yellow or orange boxes we want to grow dramatically. We need you to help identify our members. We can do this through synagogue schools and other organizations. But given we know the statistic is so low of people who are Jewish and who do identify through a synagogue or school or organization, we need non-traditional ways to find people who are Jewish, but yet are needing our help to get to financial freedom. You will do this maybe through advertising, social media, word of mouth. And there are many opportunities that we see that you can identify and contact these vulnerable Jewish households. We need somebody who helps in signing up for government benefits. This is a most sought after need, as so many of our members qualify, because as depicted in the first training session, it is such a maze to identify what you qualify for and how to navigate it. We need people with the expertise of this to help navigate and sign people up for government benefits for which they will qualify. We also need to know that every member has a cell phone and a computer. So we need to find a means to ensure that we have that and identify where we can get it from to be sure that everybody has that at their disposal. A big need is nutrition and food security. There are so many resources in San Diego designed by geography. So we need somebody who could research and help distribute information on food resources to help people maintain and sustain that security. Housing is a huge need. We are working to develop a list of available housing options to try solicit multifamily property owners for emergency housing units, home sharing services to match people, and identify new and emerging low-income housing options in the San Diego area. Employment, we have instituted something called Kindness Works, where we are hoping people will place jobs and you will be able to help match people who need a job with somebody who's placed it on our Kindness Works medium. We also need access to low-cost childcare so people can go out there and find a job. We do need to help people with resume writing who need to tweak or update their resume and maybe learn to be helped with interview skills. In the health and wellness arena, we're trying to develop pro bono dentistry, medical services, vision, auditory, medications, mental health, physical disability services, support for substance abuse victims, and domestic violence victim support. Transportation, people often have their own transportation, but we need a means to maintain their vehicles and to have somebody or somewhere where we could get vehicles repaired, or being able to buy inexpensive purchases for people who do need a vehicle. We also need to expand and develop our Uber and our Lyft program. Other client support include legal services, pro bono tax and accounting services, group activity programs, volunteers who will help us do deliveries as needed, volunteers who will help us with fundraising, grant applications. So as you can see, the realm is huge. We would appreciate you listening to the other modules that are pertinent to you, and not all of them may apply to the position you've taken on. But because you represent Kindness Initiative and you're our advocate, we would appreciate you to be knowledgeable about the program. And at the end of this training session, there will be, actually, I'll clarify on that. In your volunteer package, there will be a form to be completed to acknowledge that you have listened and understood the aspects that you needed to be a successful volunteer. And finally, in closing, please would you share our goal, which is to identify and advocate the many members in San Diego who are in need. If every one of us could identify with one of the 4 volunteer categories, or make a monetary donation, or spread the word, or many of those, be our advocate, we would make an impact in the lives of so many. The strength of our community and this ability to make a difference is based on the collective knowledge, expertise, and commitment of us. Thank you all for the valuable role you are playing. This is really so appreciated.